Maggie Klein, welcome to the Breakfast Nook. So, it looks like Trump has got some legal problems. So, there are 5 trials that are active right now against Trump that matter right now in politics. The first trial is the one in New York, which is a civil case against him for him overvaluing his businesses. Now, this is an interesting one because there were some rulings that made it look like it was going to get delayed, but now it looks like it's going to happen this Monday. And there's already been a summary judgment saying he committed fraud, and yes, he did commit fraud. If you look at the chart of how he overvalued, oh my God, he way overvalued Mar-a-Lago compared to what he claims it's worth. He said it's worth $250 million when it's only worth about $26 million. So this doesn't look good. So this lawsuit is bad because he's going to be fined $250 million, plus his businesses are going to be dissolved, and he's going to lose properties, and he's going to be humiliated, and his businesses are going to be ruined, blah, 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 blah. Now, the question that you have to ask about this case is it political? Because with every Trump case, you have to ask that question, is it political? And in this case, it's semi-political, but the reality is he committed fraud. It wasn't hard for the judge to rule that he committed fraud. So he was found guilty, and yeah, it's not political anymore because the evidence is there, and he pretty much just failed his final appeal to delay it. So on Monday, we find out what happens, and we have a fun, good old fireworks Trump trial. The next trial, the first trial of his indictments, are his criminal trials, and his first one is in New York. Now, this one is that he falsified business records to pay the Stormy Daniels, which Michael Cohen produced the text for. Did he commit this one? Yes. Is this political? Yes. This one is very political. And honestly, this one is the least of my favorite of the trials because it's going to end like this. He's either the statute of limitations is going to be reached and Trump is going to be found innocent because of statute of limitations, or he's going to be found guilty and he's going to get the traditional probation, community service, and a fine. Because this one really, I don't think this one's going to end in jail. The next one, this one is Trump's own fault. He did this on his own. And I'm outraged at this. He took classified documents with him from the White House and kept them, and he knew they were not declassified, and he kept those classified documents, and he stored them in a friggin' bathroom out in the open to be searched by anyone, and he showed little regard towards top secret documents that were of the sensitive nature, including nuclear secrets and things of that nature. This one Trump did to himself. He does not... He keeps harping on the Presidential Freedom Act, on the Presidential Record Act, but that act says you have to turn over all your records. This one could have been avoided had he, when the National Archives asked him for all his records, if he had sent all those top secret documents, they would have found the classified documents like they did in one cache they sent over, and it would have gone to the FBI, and the FBI would have ruled no, just like they did with Mike Pence and how they're going to rule with Biden probably. But the honest truth is Trump did this to himself. It's not political, but he's lucky. He's got a judge that likes him, so this one might take forever to go to court. The next one is the case in D.C. holding up for January 6th. Actually, for the fake electors. Did he do this one? Yes. There's evidence of this. Plenty of it. And if he keeps opening his mouth and attacking everyone, the judge is going to speed up the trial, and this one's going to go to trial sooner than we think. And this one is not political. This one is he attempted to overthrow the government. And now he's being called the Matt for it. I mean, we had January 6th for crying out loud. And that was him trying to overthrow the government. And he tried to create fake electors and all kinds of things, and they even tried to sneak them in the ballot count towards the end. This is not political, and he's got a judge who is not his friend, and he's going to have a tough time winning this one. And the final one is the one that I'm loving the most, the Georgia racketeering charges. Okay, so Trump made a phone call to the Georgia governor asking him to find the votes, blah, 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 and ran all kinds of scams in Georgia. And all of a sudden, after 2 years of investigation, he gets charged with RICO statutes. He got charged with racketeering. This one can put him in prison, and it's not pardonable. So he's in a lot of hot water right now. And honestly, I love the fact that they got all his little co-conspirators with him. So to sum it up, are the trials political? I would say the New York one is probably political. The New York ones are probably political. But he did engage in those acts. And the New York one is the weakest of the bunch. The indictment in New York is the weakest of the bunch. That's going to end in the kind of ending with probation, fines, and community service. The one in D.C., that's going to end with jail because he attempted to overthrow the government, and the government doesn't like that. The one in Florida, that one might not end in jail. That might end in probation, fines, and community service too, because the judge is on his side, and also he's in Florida, so that. The Georgia one, that's going to end in prison, and that's going to be horrible for him because he's going to go to prison in Georgia. So I expect Trump to be wearing an orange jumpsuit sometime next year, right in the middle of the election season, and yeah, Trump did these crimes. I mean, the evidence is overwhelmingly showing that he committed these crimes. And if you want to argue with me, which you're going to argue in the comments, because I know that, because someone's going to come in and say, no, you're wrong, blah, 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 and present their evidence. The truth of the matter is, it's pretty obvious. There's a lot of evidence. The January 6th hearing kind of explicitly shows that the D.C. trial is just basically him being found guilty. He's trying everything in his power to get it moved and delayed, blah, 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 his lawyers. I was watching a Legal Eagle video about his lawyers, and while he's got some good lawyers, he got a lot of F-tier lawyers that are not very good, and they're making a lot of stupid statements, and they're getting sanctioned, because they got sanctioned for irrelevant movements, $7,000 fines in the civil trial. So, yeah, look for Trump to be wearing an orange jumpsuit. However, if he's elected president, don't expect him to wear an orange jumpsuit. In the federal cases, expect the D.C. one to be pardoned by him, and the Florida one to kind of be, he's going to get the attorney general to not do it, and then Trump is going to become evil and all that good stuff. Don't vote for Trump, because honestly, I would rather, if the election was, if I had to pick any Republican that I want to see going up against Biden, who will win is Sarah Hutchinson. And she's very likable, and she's very good, and yeah, don't expect Ron DeSantis to get anywhere because he's just losing out. It's just hilarious to watch his campaign melt down. Anyways, those are the Trump trials.